Okay, so continuing on, let's have a look at this little shaky unit, the J29 that we've labelled. So you get 2 weights, according to the book. That smaller one is useless to me, and it's offset to, I guess, accommodate whatever, I think the attachment screws. So this gets mounted to the plate, this on the other side, so I think it goes that way. Obviously you've got screws to miss there, and that's encased in there. I suppose the really useful thing it says is you might have to make holes and use proper screws if needed to mount it wherever you want. So that means probably mounting it on there and drilling through this mounting plate, but I'll get to that at some point in time. So anyway, we'll get this put together. I guess being a vibration unit, I'm really going to want to use a bit of thread lock. I'm just going to dab a little bit on the edge of the hole so the screw will draw that in itself. Okay, and I guess it doesn't really matter which way the wires are going. I'll have them going up and out of the unit, I guess. Okay, so some holes lined up there, and tiny screws to go in. So I'll use my tiny screwdriver. If you want to find your hole, I think that's it, there we go. And the second one for the other side. Make sure they're tight enough, but the thread lock, I'm guessing, should hold that in place. So now we'll mount the weight. So again, I might set that just up a little bit so it's not rubbing on the plate itself there. I suppose you could put a bit of grease, but I don't think that'd be really needed. I'm just going to line it probably with the top of the pin. So again, I'll use a little bit of thread lock in the hole. Keep that lined up if I can. That didn't work. There's some screw. And that should let's go in there. Okay, so that's I can actually feel a good bit of vibration. Just spin it with a finger. Pop that away. Okay, the last bit is mounting the housing on there. That's just going to be 4 soft tapping screws. So reasonably straightforward, just a little fiddly with some of the small pieces and getting them lined up and into holes. So that should come together easy enough, I guess, the speaker. When we come to do that next, it's just going to be a case of getting things mounted again. No great works, it's just going to be mounting on the there's a little screen in front of the speaker, I guess just to protect the speaker cone itself. And then mounting it in a box. But the good thing is I'm due to receive my receiver tomorrow. So once that comes, I should be able to get things set in place, figure out where everything needs to go, and kind of almost have a working setup and at least a movable body. But then we can start testing the electronics out properly as well for the bottom half. So that'll sit in there somewhere. But anyway, I'll get the bits prepared and we'll move on to the speaker housing. Okay, so I have my parts assembled here. Looks like the little protective film which goes in front of the speaker is just set in place. We get 2 of them. I guess we'll keep one as a spare, just in case this doesn't go well, but it should be fine. So that is just screwed onto there quite happily. Now eventually it says make a cut in the box to feed the wires through, but there is a hole there. I know it's probably going to be for letting air through to help vibration, but I don't think having a wire is going to affect that in any great way, shape or form, so I'm going to make sure that I get this set so I can actually place that in there as well. So I'll double check, make sure, because I think this only kind of fits in one way, does it, or is it square? Nope, that's square, so it doesn't really matter which way this piece gets mounted. But we'll go ahead, flip that around, and it's just flanged self-tapping screws to go in there. I should hopefully be able to just push through the, actually I might make a small neck just to help get the screw in as I push everything all over the place. And that's sitting loose in there. So this seems to be the wrong piece, but that's about the only piece they've got. That's a screw but not self-tapping. I'll give this one a try just in case. No, I don't think that's going to work. Flange tapping screws. That is quite literally the only flange screws we have. I thought I was onto a winner there. Double checking all the packs. No, there are washers in this one. I don't think they're going to be required, but they're probably too small. Tell you what, we'll go ahead and we'll try with just a normal self-tapping screw. Let's see if that's any better. That is just slide them through. Right, that's not overly helpful. That wouldn't have held the piece in position anyway. Right. Get that set just on there. I'll double check, see what actually fits there. There was I thinking I was actually prepared for a change. Okay, so nothing actually fits. Fantastic. Right, we'll double check where's the front. This holes through the front as well. Let's see if anything. Actually, we'll double check. Large self-tapping screws, which are bites on the fronts. Okay, so these ones seem to be long enough to go through. What are these ones? Were these long enough to go through both? Right, I'm going to have to try and figure this out and get back to you there, unless we don't use this. Mesh that onto there. Do these screws then work? Feels like those screws would then work. Okay, what we're going to do is ignore this piece, mount the speaker onto this front housing with a little bit of film in front of it, and that should do us. So, do have a hole kind of made already. I'll try and line that up again. It saves me damaging the piece, but I guess that's why they give you two. Right. Let's see if this is any better, because it can't be any worse. Okay, that film feels okay. Yeah, because that says tighten screws into that piece and then cuts along the film, so quite literally have no idea what they were thinking with that one. Start a little cut to make this a little easier again. Although I think you can just push it through. Let's try pushing that through, it's probably going to be just as easy. I just want to try and stretch that fabric. Try to give it a cut. Try and keep that film in place so it doesn't look too rippled or anything there. So obviously tightening things is stretching it a little bit in each corner. Okay, so a little bit of confusion of how to actually get that in, but I'm hoping that should work, and that's kind of a nice fit there. So it says I was going to feed the wire through this top hole if I can. There we go. There it is. Have it mounted coming out the back. Okay, so it looks like we've got a little bit of excess to obviously trim off there. It says do it with a knife, but I think I'm just going to grab some scissors. And then obviously just watch out for the wires floating about the place. It doesn't need to be 100% perfect, as long as it's not spilling out the side of the box and doesn't look a bit weird that way. It'll be fine. Once that's trimmed up nicely. Through there. Okay, and which size is going to fit? These ones. Yep. So sorry, still checking the sizes, make sure I get them all the same. That is this more of those. They give you a random box of screws without anything size wise to match it up with in the book. So sometimes it's a bit of guesswork as to what's going to work. And that seems fine. So let's quickly knock in all the screws. And drop them all over the floor, all of the two. And there we go. The last screw to go in. And that is our speaker housing complete, and you'll sit up there somewhere, right next to the engine. I do notice there's pre-drilled holes on there. I think that was for the seats, but I mean, if you wanted to, you could probably drill through and bolt it. I think in the book it just says use double-sided tape to stick that in place, whichever way you see fit, I guess. But maybe you want to file these pieces down so it's a flat area to sit on, because otherwise it's sitting on the protrusions of the seat housings or the seat mounting positions. But, yeah, it's not too bad. So yeah, all we need now is the receiver. Then we can start getting everything properly placed out. But I might start feeding the wires through and getting them set under the plates and see if I can get the plates set in. Let's see how that goes. Obviously that one's still screwed in as well. And I think there's a metal cover for the back there, which was the old power switch. But I think we can still have that as a metal plate on the back. Okay. But, yeah, we'll leave it there and we'll come back in a bit. Bye now. Okay, so I've gone ahead and fit a few pieces down. This back plate. I didn't show putting the arm on. It's basically just the two screws to go into two nuts. But that will let me control the back and switch it off. I mean, you don't need to really have that arm on, but I thought that would be good for a quick release instead of having to tug on this the whole time. And there's two plates each side, each with two screws, and two screws, so I thought I'd just cut to the end and have these in place temporarily and screwed down. So it's starting to take shape now, and if we get the other pieces, you can start to see how it's all going to fit in properly, I guess. And then the control unit around there somewhere. I'll maybe see if I can mount it on the back of here maybe and save it getting shaken around. Receiver down, yeah, the receiver down there or something. I mean, if I could mount that possibly flat on the back, then that would give me access for batteries and things, but we'll see how it goes. I'll wait until the receiver turns up and I'll start making my mind up, but I I've kind of fed the wires through enough. Still just little tie wraps at the moment until I get everything properly set up. Then I'll start using some zip ties and things like that maybe, or some tape to hold it to the frame. But we'll figure that out in later episodes. But, thanks for watching.